Good morning, Ben. How's it going?
Good morning, Jaunty. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right. It's been a long week. Got some sick daughters, but other than that, I'm really excited to get these new products. Uh, the
CBD.
the CBD line, yeah.
Yeah, cannabinoids. It's
Right.
funny. Don't you think it's kind of interesting how cannabinoids have gone from being completely taboo to being the
Mm.
flavor of the month?
Very quickly over just the course of just a few years.
You know what? Why do you suppose that is? I'll tell you why. Why do you think that is? Over the course of the last few years, it's gone from being a problem child to being the latest and greatest medical strategy for a whole bunch of things.
My guess would be that because everybody that tries it has rave reviews about how
Right.
well it works.
Works. CBD works. Cannabinoids work. There's a lot of misunderstanding around them, though. We've all been grown up to kind of think of this idea of marijuana being bad, right? This is your brain on drugs.
Right.
The marijuana plant has been vilified. Now, as you say, once people use the marijuana or they use the active ingredients that are in marijuana, they have a completely different opinion, especially if they got some kind of health problem,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
So it's mostly people who don't use or aren't experienced. There's exceptions there, of course, but it's mostly people who are not experienced with how to use marijuana or hemp or the cannabinoids effectively, who have this kind of negative attitude about what really is just an herb, right? It's just a plant. It just grows out of the ground. But what's really neat about this herb, this plant that grows out of the ground, is it's very rich in compounds, and very important compounds that are almost exactly the same as compounds that are found in your body, specifically hormones that are found in your body. So you've got a plant that is very, very rich in chemical compounds that are analogous to hormones in your body. Hormones regulate everything in your body. So by ingesting this plant, whether you smoke it or whether you eat it or whether you drink it in tinctures or in teas, etc., you can change your hormone profile. It's like hormone replacement therapy. And when I say hormone replacement, I'm being really specific. I'm being really technically accurate, because the hormones that are found in plants, these cannabinoid hormones that are found in the cannabinoid plants that are analogous to the hormones in your body, can actually be deficient in your body. You can have
Right.
cannabinoid hormone deficiencies. And by ingesting cannabinoids, you can replace your own hormones, or you can you top off your own hormone tank. And this is what accounts for the tremendous biological properties of the cannabis plant. But it's a little bit more complicated than that. But generally speaking, these plants make hormones called cannabinoids that are analogous or exactly the same as hormones that your body makes. So by ingesting these plants, you can support your hormones. And in the case of deficiencies, you can replace the hormones that aren't in there that should be in there. So if you're dealing with a cannabinoid deficiency and you ingest these cannabinoids from plants, you're going to all of a sudden notice cannabinoid effects. So what are the cannabinoid effects? They're relaxing effects. They slow things down. They calm things down in the body. And this calming property of these cannabinoid hormones makes them extremely important for a whole range of health issues, from diabetes to Alzheimer's disease to autism to cancer to pain relief to anxiety to digestive problems to inflammatory problems. I mean, there's just all kinds of reasons to use cannabinoids from plants, particularly if you're deficient, and many people are. So let's talk a little bit about how this whole thing works in the hormone system in the body, et cetera, okay? Hormones are chemicals that make cells do things. The word hormone comes from the Greek I arouse to activity. Hormones are activators. They turn switches on. Some of these switches activate a relaxation response, and some of these switches activate a stimulating response. So you got hormones, and I'm being very simplistic here, by the way, but this is generally how it happens. You got hormones in the body that have a relaxing effect. You got hormones in the body that have a stimulating effect. The hormones in cannabinoids, the cannabinoid-like hormones, have a relaxing effect on the body. This gives them tremendous, tremendous health benefits. Now, you've got two major cannabis plants, or cannabinoid-rich plants. Cannabinoids, by the way, are found in lots of plants. They're found throughout nature. But there are two plants in particular that are extremely rich in these cannabinoid hormone substances. One is the hemp plant, and the other is the famous marijuana plants. The marijuana plant contains cannabinoids that give you a sense of euphoria, a sense of sensual, improved sensual acuity, better taste, brighter colors. People like to listen to music when they ingest the cannabinoids in the marijuana plants. We generally call that getting stoned. And this is where cannabinoids get such a bad reputation, because for whatever reason, we believe getting stoned is not a good thing. And not to mention there's the whole legal issue, and there's a lot of people doing a lot of years in jail because of getting stoned or trying to procure the substances that get you stoned. The second cannabinoid plant, or cannabinoid-rich plant, is called hemp. Hemp has been used for centuries for textiles, for linens, and for rope, and for bed sheets and various clothes. It's got a lot of properties. It's a very durable plant. The fibers that come from hemp are very durable, very resilient. Hemp is easy to grow. Now, recently, it's been used for energy by putting the hemp plant with bacteria. Bacteria eat the hemp fibers and they release energy.
Right.
A whole lot of reasons why hemp is useful. But hemp is also rich in cannabinoids, like marijuana is, but it doesn't have the same get you high cannabinoids.
Mm-hmm.
It has more cannabinoids that have biological effects on inflammation and immunity, anti-inflammatory effects. Also has some calming effects. And most of the medicinal effects that are being explored today of the cannabinoid plants are found in the hemp plant. There's still a lot of medicinal properties in marijuana, no doubt about it. You have even a term, medicinal marijuana. But if you want to enjoy the health benefits of the cannabinoids without getting high, you can do it with CBD. You can do it with the cannabinoids that are found in hemp, especially one in particular called CBD, cannabidiol. Now, there's probably 100 or more. There may be, I don't even know. There may ultimately be thousands. They keep finding new ones. Cannabinoids found in plants. The one that has gotten the most buzz lately is one particular cannabinoid called CBD, which is rich in the hemp plant. CBD or cannabidiol. Like THC, you probably heard of THC is rich in the marijuana plant. THC is what gets you stoned. CBD is rich in fact, found in abundance in the hemp plant. And CBD research has progressed at a super accelerated pace over the last 5 to 10 years because of all the wonderful, wonderful benefits that CBD has. It's not going to get you high. Nobody smokes hemp. Or nobody smokes rope to get stoned. They smoke marijuana because you're not going to get high from the cannabinoids that are found in hemp. You're not going to get high from the CBD. And if you're worried about a drug test, unless they're testing for THC, chances are pretty good you're not going to set off a drug test with CBD. But if you're dealing with a whole range of health problems, CBD can be incredibly beneficial. And I'm talking about blood sugar for diabetes, and this is where a lot of the research is being done on CBD now, is for helping people who have diabetes. CBD also has anti-inflammatory and anti-cortisol effects, so it can help calm you down. This makes it this gives it a lot of value for people with sleep disorders. Also seizure disorders. In fact, a drug was just approved by the FDA that was a CBD-based drug for seizure disorders. And this is really, may be the most important site of research, of cannabinoid research, is for calming the brain down when you have seizure disorders. Seizures are partially caused by the brain not channeling energy correctly, being hyper-excitable. And this kind of calming effect that CBD has in general on the body can be leveraged for seizure disorders in the brain. Also, these anti-inflammatory and calming effects can be very helpful for folks dealing with IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, or really any digestive health issues. And this is another claim to fame of CBD, is that it can be helpful for folks with Crohn's disease or irritable bowel syndrome or digestive health issues. CBD is a wonderful antioxidant, so it's got anti-aging benefits. It is has neurogenic properties. It can stimulate brain cell development and brain cell growth. They used to tell you you can't grow brain cells. Well, it turns out CBD stimulates the growth of brain cells. They used to say you can't grow new brain cells. Now people believe that you can.
Right.
And CBD can help stimulate neurogenesis. Sleep is probably the most popular use of CBD, and if anybody has insomnia or sleep disorders, it's an incredible, can be an incredible health tool. Keep in mind now, we're talking about not a drug. we're not even talking about an herbal medicine. We're talking about a hormone.
Right.
We're talking about a chemical that's already in your body, albeit sometimes in deficient states. So this is not a drug, and this is not an herbal medicine. And all of these benefits, you can get all of these benefits by ingesting a substance that's completely non-toxic and mimics something that's already in your system, even though you may not be making enough of it. And this also shows you that you can also use CBD almost like a nutritional supplement, even if you're healthy. Even if you're healthy and don't have full-blown digestive health issue, or a full-blown inflammatory issue, or a full-blown brain health issue, or full-blown diabetes, you may just be tending towards inflammation, or have a little digestive health problems, or maybe your blood sugar is not totally stable. You can use CBD like you use a nutritional supplement. It's non-toxic. It's already in your body. Your body has mechanisms in place for deactivating it. This is what makes something toxic. One of the main reasons something is toxic or not, why a drug is toxic and a nutritional supplement is not, is because your body has mechanisms for processing that nutrient once it's been used. It doesn't have mechanisms for processing the drug. CBD is much more like a nutrient in this regard. You see, you got a really powerful health tool here. But probably the most interesting thing to me is CBD's anti-pain properties. The anti-pain properties are not only significant when you take CBD internally, they're also helpful when you take CBD topically. Topically, CBD can help with arthritis pain, joint pain of all kinds, bursitis, tendinitis. It can help with all kinds of joint, ligament, and muscle pain, not just internally, although internally is great, but also topically. So with CBD, you've got an amazing, amazing health tool that I highly recommend people avail themselves of if they're dealing with any health issue, and even if they're not dealing with any health issue, just as I say, as a nutritional supplement. A couple real last things I want to say. If you're taking CBD for pain, use it with Tylenol. There's a synergistic effect between CBD and Tylenol. And also essential fatty CBD in the body, the hormone CBD, the cannabinoid hormones, which in the body they're called endocannabinoids. You may have heard that term. Endo meaning inside. Endocannabinoids as opposed to exocannabinoids, which are found in plants. If you want to stimulate the production or upregulate your own CBD production, you need essential fatty acids, which function as a raw material for CBD. And this is why I say CBD deficiency may be a bigger problem than anybody knows, because if you're not getting enough essential fatty acids, EFAs, and most people aren't, or you have a gallbladder problem, intestinal problem, somehow you're not absorbing your essential fatty acids out of the digestive system into the blood, or out of the blood into cells, you could end up with a CBD deficiency. So using essential fatty acids, supporting fat metabolism in the body, using digestive enzymes with your meals, probiotics on a regular basis, anything you do that will support fat metabolism and fat absorption will help you make your own natural CBDs. And if you've had a gallbladder taken out, or liver problem, or you're not absorbing fats for whatever reason, that may be another reason why you want to start to include CBD in your nutritional protocol, your nutritional supplement regimen.
Ben, this whole idea of a deficiency really pricked up my ears. It sort of begs the question, we know, I mean, being a bit of a student of history, we know that both hemp and marijuana have been cultivated by humans going back at least thousands of years. In fact, just the other day there was a grave that was uncovered somewhere along the Silk Road, which dated to about 1200 BC. The guy was buried in hemp.
Marijuana was one of the first drugs, or the cannabis plant, which includes hemp and marijuana, was one of the first herbal medicines to ever be written about. When the compendiums of herbal medicine were first published in 4700 BC, we're talking nearly 5,000 years ago. When those compendiums were first established, marijuana was one of the first drugs, or the cannabis plant was one of the first drugs to be utilized. Imagine stumbling on this plant, Jonty. Imagine stumbling on the plant, and whoever decided to first eat it or smoke it, they probably observed animals eating it, or whoever first decided to explore it, all of a sudden they got a plant that helps with the blood sugar, helps you sleep, helps you with pain, and has anti-inflammatory benefits. I mean, all of the wonder, not to mention it made you feel good in general, created a sense of euphoria. All of these wonderful benefits were explored, and they didn't have taboos about drugs back then. Right. They didn't have taboos about getting high. They didn't have taboos like we have today. and they didn't have medicine like pharmaceuticals. So herbal medicine was their medicine. They found this plant. It just floored everybody, and to this day, it's considered one of the top 10 or top 20 medicinal plants in Chinese medicine. The Chinese were the first people to get a hold of it, then the Indians, then I think it was the Egyptians, records of Egyptian priests being buried with pounds of marijuana for whatever reason, to get stoned in the afterlife or to share with the gods when they got up there. I don't know why they would do that, but you're talking about a plant that has been used medicinally, not just 4,700 years ago by the Chinese or by the Indians, by the Egyptians, but even as recently as the 1800s, it was kept in medicine cabinets. Remember, the pre-drug days, pain was endemic. There was pain everywhere, inflammation everywhere. Everything was rotting and dying. They didn't know about bacteria, but they didn't have drugs. So if they had a plant like this that they could tincture, and it would make your headaches go away, it would help you sleep, and would have these wonderful anti-inflammatory benefits. And by the way, I forgot to mention, CBD and cannabinoids can be helpful for folks dealing with dementia. It can help remove plaques from the brains of patients who have Alzheimer's disease. So you have this plant with all these wonderful benefits. It wasn't just the ancient Egyptians and the ancient Chinese and the ancient Indians who used it. Yeah. They used it in the 1800s. Right. Queen Victoria was prescribed cannabis tincture for her migraine headaches. It's only been since the 1920s or 1930s when prohibition, right around the time that alcohol prohibition hit, is when marijuana prohibition kicked in. But interestingly, they couldn't prohibit a plant because it's a plant. So what they did is they created something called the Marijuana Tax Act, where you had to declare your marijuana, or you had to pay taxes on your marijuana, and if you didn't pay taxes on your marijuana, you'd go to jail. So basically, they did a roundabout to create prohibition on the marijuana plant, and then in 1970 they just said, screw it, we're just gonna prohibit the thing entirely. Forget the Marijuana Tax Act, and they made it what's called a Schedule I drug, which made it like heroin. Right. It made it like it created a substance that, based according to the DEA, has no known medical value. Right. And how they came up with this idea, now we're finding out, not only does it have no medical value for a zillion different things, but it's so medicinal and it's so medical that drug companies are trying to create analogs to patent, and the federal government actually owns patents on cannabinoids for various health maladies, and they've owned these patents on cannabinoids since the 1980s, and they still have it scheduled as no known medical value.
There was a brief hiatus of the prohibition on growing hemp during the Second World War because we needed lots of ropes and whatever it was, parachutes and whatnot.
Yeah. I didn't know it was hemp. I don't think hemp was illegal though, was it?
I think there were restrictions. I mean, there's that whole. I don't recall all the details of it, but there's a story that goes something along the lines of the paper producing companies. Were and the lumber mills had a relationship. They didn't want to have a renewable resource turned into paper. They wanted to keep chopping down forests because that's where the money was for them.
We get these political reasons why access to something as valuable as hemp, or for that matter, marijuana, is limited. And you know what? It's just another example of how our ability to take care of our bodies is being restricted, so that we're compelled to interact with the established medical model. And it's just tragic to me.
We're really not discovering this. We're rediscovering it. We humans knew this for a long, long time, but we just sort of weren't allowed to ingest something which is, as you say, it's part of our bodies.
Exactly. Not only is it an herb and a weed, it's a weed. It grows out of the cracks of sidewalks. It grows in incredible abundance. Not only is it a weed that grows out of the ground, that's a gift to us from Mother Earth, but the compounds in it, the molecules in it, are part of your natural chemistry, part of your natural biochemistry.
Well, that's the kicker for me. You're supposed to have this stuff in your body. It's been there for a long time, so I'm quite curious to see how my sleep patterns change taking one of the longevity products, and I'm looking forward to a bold new age of rediscovering things that we we always knew, you know.
That's interesting. Rediscovering things that we always, rediscovery is right, because it's not like we're just now like going to accept marijuana. There's actually people who think it's like a really bad thing. My mom won't touch it. My mom won't touch cannabinoids, CBD or otherwise. She's got terrible pain because she's got this idea in her head that there's something negative or something bad about the intoxicating effects that may come along with whatever benefits she gets. Nonetheless, she'll take, not my mom, she doesn't do any of this, but other people take Vicodin or they'll take opiates.
Right.
You know, and opiates are pretty much the same thing, except opiates create much more toxicity in the body than these cannabinoids, which are literal analogs of things that are already in your body. Opiates are as well, but the opiates that we take are tweaked versions of what's in the plant. When we talk about using CBD and these cannabinoids, we're not talking about tweaked versions. We're talking about exactly the same things that are in the plants. I should also mention one more thing, Jonty. There's this distinction between isolates and full spectrum. So CBD is available just as CBD. That's called a CBD isolate. There's also full spectrum cannabinoids which contain CBD and various other cannabinoid substances. As I said, there's hundreds of different cannabinoids, and while CBD is the most well-researched of the cannabinoids, and so its effects are known, there's always benefits to taking a nutrient or an herbal substance or a plant substance in a full spectrum form. So you get all the various cannabinoids which work together synergistically. So there's reasons to take CBD straight because we know that CBD works really well for a lot of different things. And there's reasons to take full spectrum because that provides you not just with the CBD, but with the other compounds, other cannabinoid compounds, which may act synergistically. I like using a blend of isolate and CBD. So you get a standardized amount of CBD, plus you get the full spectrum. And also, I should say, there's something called the entourage effect, which refers to other compounds, non-cannabinoid compounds that are found in plants that help the cannabinoids work. They call them, in general, there's a class of substances called terpenes, which you may have heard of. Terpenes are what give hemp or marijuana its characteristic smell. And these terpenes, when they're added in with the CBD and the cannabinoids, can help support the activity of the cannabinoids synergistically, the CBD synergistically, in what's known as the entourage effect. So a good CBD product will have isolate and full spectrum, and it will also have the entourage molecules that can help the CBD and the cannabinoids work.
Fantastic, Ben. I really appreciate you taking some time to help define all this stuff. I think our audience is going to be very appreciative, and hopefully there's some folks out there who are going to open their eyes to the possibilities here for the first time and see things in a new way.